Session number 6, PreZense. Today we're going to talk about perspectives. Specifically, perspectives when it comes to how we go through this mindfulness journey, how we show up to be more present in the world we are, how to be more aware. So, we have covered to this point resilience, we've covered beliefs, we've covered the thought process, ego, we've covered awareness, we've covered a lot of ground. The next 2 sessions are all going to be about ways of shifting that are more or less either perspective shifts or they're techniques to get a perspective shift. Today will be the perspectives themselves, next week will be the actual techniques. And these are just kind of ways to get you to see what we've been talking about. Because what's the old rule adage? You tell someone something 7 times before they hear you. So you'll have heard my comment from 7 different angles by the time we're done. Actually, you probably have heard it dozens of different angles. And the whole idea is to get you one of those angles to work for you. So it kind of catches with you and it makes a difference for you. So we talked about life being a practice, our lives being a practice. And as we go through those lives, it will help if we have perspectives that will help us catch our thoughts and be more aware. So the 7 perspectives we're going to cover today will be covered here. And the goal, again, is mental mastery. But before we get to those perspectives, I want to talk about how really smart people see the world. And with another quote from Albert Einstein. And he talks about the fact that it's paradoxical. The more we know, the more ignorant we become. For it is only through enlightenment that we become conscious of our limitations. One of the most gratifying results of intellectual evolution is the continuous opening up of greater prospects. Welcome to Greater Prospects. Here are the 7 we're going to cover today. We're going to cover them each as a separate slide. I usually don't do lists, but I like them in this case because they're separate enough that this helps us go through them. So the first we're going to talk about is how you attribute meaning and the fact that there's an opportunity for each of you to do that more cautiously. There's an opportunity for all of us to want more of what life brings and force less of our own will upon it. There's an opportunity to know that whatever in you will invariably leak out. That would be the coffee metaphor from last week. Why did you spill your coffee? Not because someone bumped into you, because you had coffee in your cup. Right. The fourth one we're going to cover, we're going to talk about confidence, specifically reframing and how that can increase confidence with belief. And we're going to go a step further, and we're going to talk about faith as it pertains to that. Then we're going to talk about how you stand fast in the waiting seasons, how you step back and rise above. And when I say rise above your thoughts, rise above the world, rise above your false ego. And finally, we're going to remember what and whose you are. We did have an entire exercise on who are you. And we found out that we're not a lot of things. We're not our roles, we're not our bodies, we're not our thought processes. And so we're going to come back to that point because it's helpful when it comes to perspectives. Because we want to be happier, we want to live more joyful, we want to be more peaceful, and all this work will get you there. Why? Because in the end, the thing we're really going for is to stop being a servant to our minds, but to turn our minds into a servant to us. And the mastered mind, wow, it's a really powerful servant. Questions, comments? Okay, let's start with attribution. What does the word attribution mean? Anybody? What does it mean to attribute?
To find blame.
You can use it negatively, but more generally it means to what?
To give credit.
Yeah, to assign meaning, to give credit. Right. And we do attribution all the time. We assign meaning to all sorts of things in our lives. But the challenge that Socrates warns us about at the very beginning is that the only true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. And when you start assigning, you've already violated this rule. And we all do it. Nothing, I'll say this twice, nothing has meaning till you give it meaning. Nothing has meaning till you give it meaning. The challenge, of course, is that we are taught to assign meaning at the youngest of ages. And as such, We create problems when there aren't necessarily problems. We're conditioned, for example, to believe that if things don't go our way, it's a problem. But that assumes a couple things. It assumes that we understand what's actually going on, and it assumes that our way is the best way. Those are major assumptions. So the reality is nothing has meaning till you give it meaning. Now, you are taught to assign meaning, and you do it all the time. You do it reflexively. We're going to show a video here in a second. It's going to show you how reflexively you do assign meaning. But the problem, and we've talked about this numerous times, is what is the problem with beliefs and thoughts, guys? Everybody, anybody. What's the problem? They are
What's the question?
beliefs and thoughts. Our beliefs and thoughts, can we rely on them? No. Are they consistent? No. Do they serve us all the time? No. Have we vetted them? Typically not. Are they ours? No, almost always they come from other people. So there's a lot of baggage here. It's exactly the same when you attribute. You're going to misrepresent, you're going to misinterpret events. Life is simply unfolding without context until you attribute it and assign meaning. What a great place to start if you're going to do awareness work. All is well. Stay open to the fact that there's greater meaning and understanding. I mean, I'll give you an example. Has anyone misinterpreted an event in their life? Does anyone want to share one? My favorite general one is you're mad at your kids and you find out they didn't do what you thought they did. Every parent's had this happen. Anyone else had an event in their life that they misinterpreted? It could be short-term wrongness, but it could also be long-term. Anybody? Yeah, Kimberly.
My husband, he always comments on my driving. So one time he was commenting because I was driving left lane too long, I thought, but really he was just talking about left lane drivers. So I was mad at him for like the whole day.
Well played. Well played. I'm not even going to tip my hand to the camera on that one. Yes.
You do it all the time when like somebody didn't say hello to you or something.
All right.
They didn't see you.
It's all about you, right? So she said somebody doesn't say hello to you, and clearly it's because they're angry and they're mad at you. Yeah, there could be no other explanation, right? Exactly. Or how about long-term things? Like something happens in your life and it's hard, and you go through these seasons and you have loss and you have pain and you have suffering, and then years go by, decades, and you look back and you realize sometimes that, what? Has anyone ever had this experience? What happens later in life? You find that it has some meaning, it had some purpose, it opened some door, it unlocked some way of thinking, it provided you the endurance, the strength, the willpower to push through something you probably would not have done without that adversity. We don't know the whole picture, and it behooves us to stop pretending that we do. See, bad or wrong judgments shut off the potential to witness what any situation can become. You literally, this is just like conversing. Remember, we talked about how you're affected. What's the rule, first rule in conversing with someone, with communication? It isn't listening. No, the first one was accepting, remember? Because you have to accept first. This is exactly the same problem. The minute you call it bad or you judge it, you can now have shut off your ability to interpret it as anything good. Stop. Assigning meaning is optional. Because what if the shift in path, the invisibility is the hand of God? What if it's some way helping? What if it's providing in some way? This is always the challenge. And so what I encourage people to do, and what's the conclusion of this slide, is to start practicing non-judgmental awareness. So there's a really good exercise you can do. You can go the first hour of the day without having an opinion about anything. So when you get up, try to go the first hour of the day without having an opinion. No, it's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of work.
But you can have an opinion and then recognize that it's not necessarily true.
Absolutely. So both of those approaches work, but one of the great opinions to be aware of how often, because we don't know how often we have opinions, is to start not having them. Then later we can get to the sitting with the opinion and deciding if it's true, but let's make sure we know they're there first. So good luck. The first time I tried to do this, I think I made it half a minute because I was thinking about it. So try to go, and so it can take a lot of work, but it's a great practice. So I try to give you lots of different ways to practice awareness that aren't just meditation. Get up and see how long you can go without having an opinion about anything. Yes, please.
Is gratitude an opinion?
I'm going to let that one, you're getting ahead of me here, so thanks for being my straight man. But gratitude is an opinion, but that one falls into multiple categories. So even let the gratitude go for now. Just let things be what they are.
No.
Yeah.
What if your opinion is that I better put a coat on because it looks like it's cold outside?
Yeah, I don't know if that's opinion as much as staying warm, so
Because maybe it's not that cold outside.
maybe. Well, then recognizing that would be the exercise. And then sitting with it. Oh, that's interesting, which dichotomy it is. And then go outside later and see whether or not it was cold. And if it wasn't, you've learned something. That's this process is about awakening. It's not really about not having an opinion. It's about becoming aware.
Yeah.
Aware, aware, aware. And whatever technique you use, including blessings, is fine. There's no right or wrong way to do this.
So even like you get up and say, oh, it's a lousy day, you know, it's that's an opinion.
Oh, that's a strong opinion. The minute you use the word lousy, you've already tested your entire day. So you're
Thinking in general.
yeah, and next week we have a cool exercise about this called Name Your Brain exercise, and we're going to talk about remind me that you brought that up, and well, next week, because the Name Your Brain is fantastic. Okay, look. Have you ever really thought about the fact that each one of you is only one event away from being a person you dislike? You were one different parent, one different neighborhood, one different education, one different car accident, one different bad person you run into, away from being living a life that you don't respect and being a person you don't like. So attribution's a scary place because we take for granted the blessings we have. And final thought on this slide is, when was the last time life actually asked for your opinion? Life never, ever asks for your opinion. And yet we feel the need to generate one and give it on the reg. These are all just things to think about as you continue your awareness journey. Assigning meaning is optional. You don't need to do it. If it's cold out, put a coat on, but you need to assign meaning. It doesn't need to be a terrible day. So I'm going to show you this video about attribution. I think it'll drive home the point.
Look at everything they have. Look at him. They're so oh, I'm sorry, excuse us. Oh, let's get you a treat.
Throw a tantrum and why not offer him a treat? That's the trouble with kids today. Parents don't parent anymore.
You'll be his third foster family, so it will take him some time to feel safe with you. He's been through a lot of abuse.
Oh, gosh.
But if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. Hey, buddy. Do you want to go get something to eat? Do you want to go see your new home and we can eat there? Or we can go eat at a restaurant? You pick. That's a nice car.
Yeah, it is. You take food stamps, right?
Unbelievable. Mooching off the government, get you drive a sports car. Nice.
Thank you so much for letting me borrow your car again and watching him.
No problem. You've been through a lot, and I'm so happy now. Anything to help while you're trying to get back on your feet.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Bye. Bye.
What is this guy doing? This guy's an idiot. Ah, get out of the way! Get out of the way! Learn to drive! About time! Are you drunk? Learn to drive, idiot!
I'm very sorry. We tried everything we could. I'll give you a moment.
How am I going to tell the kids?
I hope that's a Super Bowl commercial.
You don't know. Likewise, your expectations. Are you sure things should be going your way? Forrester tells us we must be willing to let go of the life we have planned so as to live the life that is waiting for us. Interesting, you gotta let go of one before the other. You gotta go through liminal space where you don't know. Want what life brings. The greatest disease of the mind, in my opinion, that I see in society today is people stacking up what they like against what they dislike. It's a fortune for problems. This is a disease of the mind. Look, you can still have opinions and preferences, but the goal of mindfulness is to no longer be attached to them. Have all the opinions you want, but don't hold them more dear than the truth or than possibility. Detachment, for example. People are like, well, that means like I don't own anything. No, you can own all you want. You can have all the opinions you want. It means nothing owns you. No opinion owns you. No thing owns you. That's the awareness we're talking about. Can you almost feel the peace in that? Come to that quiet presence of being in charge of everything in your life, including your opinions and your things. It's a powerful place to be. Here we stand curious. We stop pretending to know what's best. We explore lots of possibilities. I mean, what is the likelihood your best answer, your answer is best or right? What is the likelihood that your choice right now? Think of something you want in life. Everybody, think of something. Write it down if you need to. Okay. Can you think of something better than that? Then why did you write down what you did? Right? It's a key point. You can find something better. In fact, the thing that you want might not even make you happy. It might just be a story or something society told you want. So the goal here is to provide space for possibility. Because you, by your very wanting, are limiting. Your expecting is creating resistance. It's limiting your life. What do you really know? And that brings us to belief. Because all this is stemmed by belief. Does anyone remember how I defined belief? This is my definition. Belief is a habit of understanding. It's so habitual you don't know you do it. And your understanding becomes a belief. We call it belief. It's shorthand, but it's just a pattern of thoughts that just continually reaffirm a certain viewpoint. And this knowing is a state of attention. And the more you draw it out of your subconscious, the more you own it, the less it owns you. And Job reminds us that that thing which we greatly fear is that thing that will come upon us. What's he reminding us? He's reminding us that faith can be negative as well as positive, that belief is belief. And it works both ways. And although I previously argued that negative belief actually works more powerfully than positive, we'll let that one sit. We'll just assume they're equal for now. So you may not have anything you want. Bible scholars in the room, the Bible literally tells us this, although it never uses these words. You may not have anything you want. Why? Why can't you have what you want? Don't get to play on words yet? You will in a moment. Because wanting is a state of doubt. It's a state of lack. It's a state of being without. And by wanting, you're believing in the lack. You literally are standing in lack and saying, I agree there's lack here right now. Wishing and wanting are not what we're asked to do. Wanting is doubt. And if you're doubting, you're anchoring yourself in lack. And the ultimate anchor of lack is the phrase, if it be your will. If it be your will, you give up all your power. But there's another way to look at belief, one that's permeated throughout the Bible. You will get what you want if you believe you'll have it. Can you believe? Will you believe? Do you even know what God says on the matter? Be open, trust more, expect good things to happen. A lot of people are going to stop on this slide and say, wait a minute. God's in charge. He absolutely is in charge. But he's told us a whole bunch of things. I don't know how much time we've spent with those things. In John, Jesus tells us that we are made in his image. As children of God, we have his powers. We have his strength. We have his ability to believe. We have his ability to create by our word. We are powerful in the sense that we are spirits. What are your rights as a child of God? I'll read you 3 of them that came right off the bat. Mark 11:24. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe you receive it, and it will be yours. Believe you receive it. Don't doubt. Don't wish. Matthew 21:22. If you believe you receive whatever you ask for in prayer. John 15:7. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. But we have to believe. Does anyone remember Jesus chastising his apostles about belief? Oh, ye of little faith. Can anyone remember any of the examples when he does it? In the boat. That's why you sank. Others?
When you resurrected and put your hand.
Yep, Thomas. Others? What was it?
I said I was going doubting Thomas.
My favorite one is the mustard seed one. He said, you little faith. If you had faith the size of belief, the size of a mustard seed, and you did not doubt, you could say to this mountain, be cast into the sea, it would be done unto you. That is not wanting, that is knowing. And I really think we need to get to a place where we can get past wanting and stand firm in what we believe. This is an awareness piece. This is faith. And belief affects outcome. We see it in science all the time. The placebo effect actually changes the human body based on our beliefs. Fascinating. Our body literally changes. And there's this thing called self-fulfilling prophecy where we subconsciously do and change our behavior in ways to make certain outcomes happen even though we don't know we're doing it. Powerful stuff. Well, that's available to us and more. And the thing is, your beliefs, they leak out all the time. They are your coffee in your cup. And if you're in lack and if you're in want, what's going to leak out is going to be a very different you than if you're in faith and you're believing. There was a study done with rats. I don't really like these torturous studies, but it was done either way. And they put rats in a bucket of water with no escape. And they wondered how long they would swim. Anyone guess how long they'd swim? Don't look at the slide. 15 minutes. They started to drown. But the human researchers came and saved them. Then they repeated it with the same rats. But the researchers stayed around. The rats knew that they were saved once by these researchers, and they put them back in. The researchers were in. How long do you think the rats swam the second time? Yeah, you would think like 30 minutes or an hour, and 12 or 24 hours would be crazy. 60 hours, 2.5 days. Because they believed they were going to be saved. Belief's powerful, and it affects your life in ways that you don't see. Negative or positive. So we need to have faith. And that's what I've been going for. I'm trying to reframe so you stand in confidence. Faith is the confidence in what we hope for and the assurance about what we do not see. Now, this word hope in the Bible is mistranslated in the sense that we use the word hope, but in the Bible it doesn't mean wish. It means trust, it means know, it means assurance. So the translation has changed, so really you need to read this in what we expect for is a much more accurate translation of this verse. So how do you build faith when you're in doubt? Anybody? Anyone have any tricks they use for building faith when they're in doubt? Most of us just feel lousy and go on with our lives. Gratitude. Well done. Gratitude. Prayer. Yeah. It's a form of trusting, as long as it's not begging, as long as it's standing in the Word. And I'm going to cover that in a second. Yeah. Declarations are one of the most powerful things you can do. Your words are extraordinarily powerful, and what you say comes out of your mouth will invariably influence your future for the reasons we just talked about. James 3:3 through 12, you have the power of life and death, the power of blessing and curse. Your tongues are the rudders to your lives. They open up all the doors. So what are you saying? It becomes extremely important, because when you claim something that you don't believe, you introduce doubt and doubt and resistance pushes away the thing you want. It doesn't bring it to you. You're focusing on the doubt and resistance, on the want and the lack, instead of the having and the promise. So I'm bringing you 3 techniques today for enhancing faith. They are to step back in gratitude. Thank you, Kaylee. To step into gratitude, to step back from specifics and generalize, and to speak to possibilities. And we're going to go through all 3 of these. I'm going to do it twice in 2 different examples, so you will understand what I'm talking about. So when your faith is weak, your life might sound something like this: I really need the money, I can't pay my bills. And that's a weak place to be from. I understand that. But how could you say that in a way that shows gratitude? How could you reframe your situation so that you show gratitude? It might sound like, thank you, Lord, that I have so much more than other people, that you'd always take care of me, that you promised X, Y, and Z. So this raises you from a doubt to a place of positivity and potentiality. Likewise, you can step back from specifics. You could say, I need my back healed. I got problems with my back and it's bugging me and I need it healed, and I'm sick of just being in pain all the time. That's not a very powerful place, right? But if you step back, you could say something like, well, my body serves me well in general, or I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, or I can really do most everything, and a lot of people have it a lot worse. So this is the generalizing steps. You have a gratitude step, a generalizing step, and then you have a possibility step. Possibility would sound like, what if? So give me something about your life you don't like. Anyone willing to share anything? And I'll show you how this works. Anyone? Well, whatever it was you were going to say, my response would have been the same. What if a miracle's already happened and it won't be long now? What if? What if? What if? What if this has already been taken care of? What if tomorrow the thing happens? What if it's already underway? What if? So instead of standing in any shade of negativity with respect to faith and belief, these 3 steps will kick you back into positivity, into possibility, and it's a way more powerful way to live. And it increases the likelihood you're going to get what you want, which cracks me up that it works both ways. So you get it now and you get it later. So I'll give you an example, go back over this again. Who in here can believe that everything always works out for them? Raise your hand. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I expected. A couple, 3 people. Most people can't. So if that was your statement and you had it in your head and your pastor told you to say this to yourself and you've been saying it all week and it just feels like it's not true, let's run it through these 3 filters and see what you might say instead. Does everything always work out for me? Might become, I am blessed and have a good life. Does everything always work out for me? Might become, I'm fortunate in many ways. Does everything always work out for me? Might become, what if everything's already falling into place? And the
So somebody has dealing with an illness, say an elderly parent, okay, and they have all this stuff going on. So the possibility is, what if it's already worked out? Like, I don't understand that because they're still faced with the challenges of dealing with this elderly parent. So I don't understand.
Is it their challenges or your challenge? Their challenges with the parent, right?
Yeah, say a parent who has Alzheimer's.
Right.
Okay, so that's what I'm not understanding, that faced with the day-to-day, taking care of them.
Well, you could run it through this, and you could say, well, I'm really blessed that I can help them.
Right.
Most people don't have anybody.
Yeah, I have a hard time understanding.
Okay, possibility?
Yeah.
I feel like I go to like, what is God teaching me here?
And I love that one.
Like as far as.
What was the question? I couldn't hear her.
Yeah, so the question was, if you've got an elderly parent and you're taking care of them, how do you reframe this in a way that makes you be able to take care of them and use this technique? And Kaylee used the example, what if God's using this to teach me something, to help me grow, to help me learn? And that's an excellent one. Thank you, Kaylee.
And what if the best days are yet to come?
Yeah, really clear there. And what if they're going to a better place? I know it's a cop-out, but anyone who's lost somebody, and I say this personally, after longer periods of time, it's not nearly as awful as it was when it happened. I have much more centeredness and peace around it than I did during the transition.
My mom had Alzheimer's, and I used to think to myself, from that is, well, my kids are seeing me take care of my parents. So that would be it?
Sure, you get what you give, right? As it's given unto you, it's, as you give, it's given back to you. Great, so this video is a great video to help you think about standing in belief and faith on the Word. So here we go. Oh, before I get there, just one final admonishment about belief and faith. Be careful what you're saying. Do you really want what you're saying? You want to be speaking all the time in ways that you want what you're saying. If you're not, and you get the thing you don't want, I don't know who that's on. I suspect you. All right. So here's some faith words to stand on.
2, 3. Gone by day and gone by night. It's not an easy road that leads you to light. It's windy now, but someday it'll straighten out. And it's worth it on the other side when he brings that city down.
So you're standing in a good place. You have faith, you have belief, you have word to stand on. How do you stand firm in the waiting seasons? How do you get through that fact that there's going to be a long time between now and the time that this event, challenge comes out of your life, if it ever comes out? And I love Peter when it comes to this, because he brings up the point that's, I think, very salient but very important with respect to this work that we're doing, which is to be sober-minded and be watchful. Your adversity, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Resist him firm in your faith. 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 Firm in your faith. Like a roaring lion. I italicized that word. Why did I italicize the word like? How much power does our adversary have? None. He was stripped of all his power. It has been taken away. He was defeated. He lost all authority. The only power is what you give him. What's our number one form of power? It's literally the whole purpose of this course. Our number one form of power is our focus, our awareness. And the minute you give negativity your focus and awareness, you empower what you don't want in your life. The minute you don't own your thoughts, they own you. See, discouragement's a test. What you're doing while you're waiting drives your outcome. I literally am positive you can doubt and worry your way out of a miracle. I imagine, not real of course, but I imagine an enormous warehouse in heaven, hundreds of football fields wide and thousands long, 50 shelves tall, full of tens of trillions of boxes, which are the gifts and the blessings and the miracles that were meant for us that we talked our way and believed our way out of. Because if you believe the opposite, you will get what you have. If you believe negativity, you get what you have, and you lose out on that now warehouse full of blessings that were coming your way, that were slated for you. So what do? You find out what God says about your situation. And you stand on the word, regularly declaring those verses. Anyone here been sick? Has physical problems? Knows someone who's sick? Raise your hand. What does God say about illness? That's exactly right. Very few of us have those words memorized, but you know God's quite verbose about illness. Here's 25 things God says about illness. What we're going to do is we're going to read one out loud and pass it to the person next to us, and we're going to go through all 25. Kaylee, we start? Perfect.
God is our healer. Exodus 15:26. I am the Lord who heals you.
Psalm 103, 2 through 3. Praise the Lord, my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgives all your sins and heals all your diseases. Thank you.
Number 3.
Jeremiah 30:17. But I will restore you to health and heal your wounds, declares the Lord.
On Matthew 4:23, Jesus went throughout Galilee, teaching in the synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness among the people.
5.
Isaiah 53:5. By his wounds we are healed.
Psalm 147:3. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds.
7. Is anyone among you sick? Let them call the elders of the church to pray over you, or pray over them, and anoint them with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer offered in faith will make the sick person well. The Lord will raise them up.
Mark 5:34. Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering.
Proverbs 4:20-22. My son, pay attention to what I say, for they are life to those who find them and health to one's whole body.
Exodus 23:25. Worship the Lord your God, and his blessings will be on your food and water. I will take away sickness from among you.
3 John 1:2. Dear friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well.
Psalm 32. Lord my God, I called to you for help, and you healed me.
Jeremiah 17:14. Heal me, Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved, for you are the one I praise.
Matthew 8:17. He took up our infirmities and bore our diseases.
Isaiah 41, verse 10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand.
I'm going to continue to let this pass around. You can just read it on your own if you'd like. Do you know scholars have gone through the Bible, especially the New Testament, and they've never found a single time that Jesus didn't heal someone? Not a single time. So before you start asking what his will is, I think we can infer the answer. It's not to be sick, and we can stand in that. Now, is there a learning possibly coming out of it? Very possibly. But still, it's faith which catches God's attention. He tells us that again and again. So yet, too many people stand on the day of miracles being over. I'm suggesting that you dig your heels in with some holy determination. Do not give up on what God has put in your heart. Move to a place of faith in prayers, words, and actions. Because like the coffee, it won't help but leak out. Father, thank you that you promised is the beginning of all the best prayers in faith. Thank you. Gratitude followed by his word.
Russ, where do you sit with everything happens for a reason?
Everything happens. The reason can be assigned an infinite number of ways. One of the rules of psychology is never to believe your past. The reason we say that to people often isn't that your trauma didn't happen or whatnot, but you're holding on to one version of an infinite number of ways of looking at that story, and you can tell it 100 ways that serve you and 100 ways that don't. So what if instead of happening for a reason, we just are in that state of love and accepting our lives as the blessings they are? Do we have to assign it? Yeah.
So I have a question just about your previous comment. It kind of sounds like if I pray enough or I have enough faith, God's going to heal me. So, and we know that that doesn't always happen here on earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where some people can get into in a negative pitfall there.
Yep.
I'm not doing enough.
Right.
I don't have enough faith. But I think the truth is that yes, God does heal on this side of heaven, but every single person is promised an entire healing in heaven.
You are absolutely right, Laura. Thank you for that question. So if you didn't hear it on the mic, it's what happens to people who don't get healed is the short answer. And do we tear people down? I am not promising that if you pray, you will get healed. I'm promising there are good promises over your life. And you'll be way more benefited by standing in those promises as you go through your weeks and months than in a pit of despair. That said, do people always get healed? No. But things come out of things that often can change your life. I've got story after story where that's happened for me personally, but, I wouldn't be doing this work if I didn't have some of the health issues I had. If I hadn't 27 years of back problems and 4 surgeries and gotten to a place where I no longer wanted to live anymore. I couldn't have dissociated between the ego self and the spirit self in a way that I now fully understand this metric. The only reason I'm standing before you is because I was sick. Is that a good thing? Was it worth it? Would I trade? I wouldn't trade it, but did I get better? I don't know. I just had another surgery 5 weeks ago. The jury's out. But it's not the point. The point is good things came in my life, and that's okay. It's actually more than okay.
I spend a lot of time with sick people, dying people, and everybody focuses on the illness and not maybe the other things that are quieter. Or I'll use my dad as an example. He lived to 91. No one expected him to live longer. The last 2 years of his life were awful. He was consumed with regret. The last year of his life, on his deathbed, he had the capacity to say what was on his mind. He said that he wouldn't have traded any of it because he had me and my sister with him through every step, and he moved past regret. And he saw that he had succeeded in life because we were with him through his illness. So even though he was sick and suffered, I think something bigger healed him. And, there's no anger because he's 91. I can't say the same thing would apply if it was a child or somebody younger. But we all focus on the thing that's visibly wrong. And it's hard to get people to focus on the other journeys.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you didn't hear that, basically, I'm going to summarize, forgive me. Her father came to terms with some issues and appreciated what he had in his life towards the end and saw it as a blessing. Yeah, and I made a quip in a work group earlier this year, which turned out to be quite valid, which is, you know, you're going to get awareness. You're going to completely dissociate from your ego self and walk completely in spirit. The goal is not to have it happen the last 5 minutes of your life. It's to have it happen prior to that. That's the work we're doing here. Like, it's going to happen. You're going to fully let go of everything you own and everything you were physically. You're going to die. Fact. Would you like to have some of that peace more than 5 minutes before it happens? Yeah, this is the work we do. Thank you for the questions and comments. Step back. Expand your outlook. Matthew tells us, truly I tell you, unless you become children, act like children, you'll never enter the kingdom of heaven. Coming at it again from another way, freedom comes from emptying all the junk in your head. 70 to 90,000 thoughts a day, 80% of them negative, 90% of them the same as the day prior. And we wonder, and almost all of them came from other people, at least in the subconscious. And half of those, 2/3 of those, are ego-based. They're all about me, 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 me. You see where we're going with this? You dealt a really bad hand of cards. It's almost a misdeal. There's perfection to all of it. Life is always taking care of us. Matthew 6:26, the birds of the air and the lilies of the field, don't worry. They're provided all they need. How much more so will God provide for you, his children, who are so much more valuable? My phrasing. Everything's simply experience. All is perfect until we judge it. All is wonderful until we desire. And I want to really stop on this one. This is a Buddhist principle, but it's actually a psychology principle. Every time you want to keep something in your life, you're clinging to it. Every time you want something not in your life, you're pushing it away. All those are guaranteed recipes for unhappiness. Let it be. Enjoy the good. Don't judge the bad too hard. And likewise, this sets you on the perfect path to allow others to be on their own journey. Because the more we control ourselves, the more we feel the need to control others. As we start to sit and allow our shadows, as we talked about last time, and we give them a place at the table, what we find is it's okay for other people to be themselves. Now, don't get me wrong, healthy boundaries are good. Not allowing someone to hurt you physically or psychologically, I'm not suggesting that. But I'm saying in general, let people be where they are in their journey and respect that. They just had a different parent in a different school, in a different lifetime experience. And you're one event from being them. Newsflash, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody. Not a single person. If someone tells you they do, please walk the other way. I like to think of us as dream characters in God's imagination. Or another way I like to think of it is as vapors, or as these temporary expressions of God's Spirit. And we're here for a season, and then we're gone. But by stepping back, I do want you to start thinking about expanding your outlook. And I give an example, because we don't know what's going on. You know, what's going on with my back might not be a great thing, might be a good thing. There's lots of ways to look at it, but I don't know what's going on. And this video will help you kind of get a humorous look at how you can expand your view.
But I know the things he gives, he can take away. And I hold you every night. That's a feeling I wanna get used to. But there's no man as terrified as the man who stands to lose you. Oh, I hope I
Cute video, huh? There is more at play in life than we'll ever know. Sue Monk Kidd once said that the true self is not our creation but God's. It's the self we are in our depths. It's our capacity for divinity and transcendence. It's a great way of thinking of us. And that part of you is hidden underneath layers and layers and layers of stories and identity and worldly pursuits and things you think you need that you don't, and misinterpretations and ego selves and noise and noise, noise. It's like the Grinch at Christmas. But you're under there, this beautiful spirit, this creation of God's. You weren't born your name. Quick exercise. We're going to repeat after me. I'm going to say, I wasn't born Russ Camus. And you're going to say, I wasn't born your name. Not state your name like an Animal House. We're going to actually do the whole thing. Yeah, so we're going to do it together. We're going to do it 3 times, making a point. Everybody ready? I was not born Russ Camus. Okay. You were born human. You were born human with a spirit. You were born spirit, having a human experience. Again, I was not born Russ Camus. I was not born Russ Camus. Right. You were born free. You were born awareness. You were born consciousness. Again, I was not born Russ Camus. You were told it. You learned it. You made it up. That's your identity. You learned who you were. You learned whether you were good, whether you were achieving, whether you were worthy, whether you were smart, whether you were pretty or handsome or not. And your life is this bunch of random thoughts floating around your head that change by the hour, that are incongruent and often unhelpful. Every learning that you've had has bolstered this false ego self. And this has done something profoundly powerful. Does anyone know what dissonance is? Any psych buffs in the room? Anybody? Well, I'll explain it through example then. By having an ego self and a spirit self, you've created a dissonance, basically a dissociation between your true self. And this has resulted in a life of dissonance, where you keep living in ways that support beliefs that are untrue. Okay. If you have an ego self and you have a spirit self, and you go through and you make any decision, isn't there a very good chance that when you do things for one, you're not doing it for the other? So then you have to choose, but you don't know you're choosing? So this time you're doing things that are following your spirit, and this time you're doing things following the world, and you feel like always something's missing. There's never enough. There's not peace. That's all we've been talking about. Your awareness will bring this to the fore. It will allow you to understand it and see it. And then you won't be a victim of it. Because this is why it feels like something is always missing. You keep trying to live for an ego self which isn't true and isn't stable. And you wonder why at the end you're not happy. The ego self can never be happy. It's insatiable. This is like a friend that you can never do enough for. You don't have a life. You are a life. You are an albeit temporary expression of the one pure consciousness, that all-knowing that pervades the entire universe. Those 7 perspectives will help you immensely as you start doing your awareness work. And if you haven't noticed, every time I talk about one of these, I often make them as fun little exercises that I do myself. So that's a part of this mindfulness practice. Don't get caught up in the practice itself. Anytime you have an exercise like this and any of these resonate with you, use it as your mindfulness practice. Carry it around with you for a day and see how it fits. It'll help wake you up. Because Ram Dass reminds us, as long as we have certain desires about how things ought to be, we can't see how things are. We miss life. So attribute cautiously. Want what life brings you. Know that the coffee in your cup will leak out. What are you holding in there? Is it fear and lack and want? Or is it faith and confidence and comfort? Reframe. as needed. Hold fast in the waiting seasons. Step back, rise above the worldly self. And remember what and whose you are. Because the mind mastered is a powerful servant. Questions, comments, further discussion? Anybody? I know we always cover a lot of material. I have the advantage of having worked this material for a very long time, trying to make the time useful for all of us.
I forget and I go back into my old habits, during the
Yeah,
week.
sure you do.
So is it just the more that you reinforce, it actually becomes your natural way of thinking?
So she said she forgets it and she falls back into her old ways, and then she notices it right there. That's the key right there, the noticing. Doesn't matter how many times you fall back in your old habits. It's the noticing we're talking about. And the more you notice, the more you'll notice. And the more you notice, the more it'll happen when you're in situations and you can fall back into it. The idea is to do it enough so that this belief, this mental habit of rising above and not being owned by your thoughts anymore, but being the observer, that mental habit will give you perspective. And now you'll regain that birthright, that sovereignty over this self that right now you don't have control over. You are a victim is way more than you are in charge of yourselves, myself included. But that's the opportunity. This is the waking up, the awareness piece. This is why we're doing mindfulness work. Please.
I appreciate what you put up there about trying to change other people, because so that you can have, you think you're trying to help them when you're really just uncomfortable with the situation. Could be a child, could be a sibling, could be a parent.
Right.
But I thought that was an important thing to include, because really I think, I spend a lot of time thinking about, if only my adult children would be this or do this, then I would be more comfortable.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Yeah. So the question was about changing other people, and then if other people would do this, I would get a benefit from that, right? Isn't that interesting? But you don't know their journey. You don't know where they've been. You don't know what they need. You don't know what's on their heart. And yet we sit around pretending that we can make a better decision than them. That's literally ludicrous. And we do it all the time. And last week when we were talking about shadow work, I spoke about this specifically, which is the other ironies, the things we don't like most about other people are the parts of ourselves we've been stuffing in shadow, hiding from other people. So in other words, we see in other people what we don't like about ourselves. So given the choice, if you want to raise the awareness of the world around you, start with yourself. Work on your shadows and the things you don't like about yourself, and that will build compassion for other people, because I think of it as a napkin. If I'm in the center of the napkin and you guys are all standing on the periphery, as I start to raise my level of consciousness and awareness, everyone around me goes with it. So stop working on other people. There's plenty. There's a lifetime of work for you to do for yourself. You have plenty of work to do. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.